Anchor is a fantastic platform for podcasting. It's so simple. It's remarkable. Even I could do it, and it's free distribution, free recording, easy, simple, elegant to use framework, great tools. If you're going to pick one podcasting forum, platform, it should definitely be Anchor. I highly recommend it. The future of prosperity. Write down these 4 things. You're going to want to remember these probably for the rest of your life. Number 1, unique. Number 2, first. Number 3, scale. Number 4, integrated. Okay, let me explain these. This might be the most important podcast I've ever done. I've done some important ones. I mean, I'm not trying to hype it. I just feel that way in my heart. Number 1, unique. You may have heard about the law of compensation. If you haven't heard of it, Google it. It talks about who makes more money and why. And basically it boils down to a few factors, but one of the most important is that to make a lot of money, you have to be in a field of high demand and you have to be at the top of your field. That, like, if you drive a cab, and there's nothing wrong with driving a cab, there's a lot of people that can do it, so they don't pay that much. If you work at a restaurant, as a cook or a waitress or a waiter, there's a lot of people that can do it, so they don't pay that much. If you're LeBron James, in the NBA at the top of the scale, there's not many people with LeBron James's skills, and a lot of people love to watch sports. Same thing with famous actors. It's very rare. There's not, a million Brad Pitts. There's a lot of people. There's millions of people that like to be Brad Pitt. But if you're in a field where there's a lot of demand and you're great at your field, you'll make a lot of money. Same thing with entrepreneurs. Bill Gates. There's not too many people that can start Microsoft and build it from zero. Steve Jobs, entrepreneurs. Even CEOs of large companies, the skill set to do that successfully is rare. So those pay well. So number 1 is unique. Develop your skills in a way that differentiates you from other people in high growth markets. So even if you do it in markets that aren't as high growth, you can still make some money. But if you could be the best in the world, but if nobody values what you do, you won't make much money. You could be the best, I'm just trying to think of anything. I mean, nowadays with YouTube, you can build almost any audience, but there's some things that people are great at that people aren't willing to pay for. So follow your passions, but follow your passions in a way that is also monetizable. Be unique, be the best at what you do, and be the best at what you do in a thing that people want. And here's the second thing. Sometimes you can create demand. Not always, because there's inherent interest and people are either interested or they're not, but sometimes people don't know that they're interested. They would be inherently interested if they knew more about your product. Sometimes not. Okay, number 2, first. You've heard about first mover advantage. Now, this is a yes and a no, because if you could get big fast before anybody else, that's where monopolies come in, and that's where things get crushed. Like Amazon is so big now that no e-commerce companies, I mean, we're one actually that's working on a new paradigm, but it's very difficult because not only is the large consumer base, like Amazon has 50% almost of U.S. e-commerce, but the mind share, even Wall Street, people just are locked in on a certain idea. So you have to be 5 or 10 times better. If you're twice as good, people won't switch to you that much because the switching costs, and they don't want to leave with they're already paying Prime, or they're already have a lot of things. That's why people don't change bank accounts, and they don't change a lot of things, because it's just a pain in the butt to make that change. So be first. So what does that involve? That involves doing a lot of research to see what's coming next, understanding trends. Because if you're first, you could get really big and really strong before anybody knows what's going on. And if you don't do it fast, and if you don't do it first, They're just going to reverse engineer you and copy you. Those that have bigger pockets. That's why, like Apple, Steve Jobs, he didn't have the first MP3 player, but the iPod took over, and same thing with the iPad. And these things were done before. But if you're a big company and you're innovative, you can take something that is potentially very big and make it a little bit better, or a lot better, and then capture the market that way. So first only has advantage up to a point. Okay, number 3 is scale. So you could be the best at what you do, but if only 10 people know about you. Like Grant Cardone says that, your problem is not that you're not good. The problem is that nobody knows about you. I mean, it might be a secondary problem if you're not good, but he said, Grant Cardone says your number one problem with the world is that you're anonymous. Nobody knows about you. So you have to find a way. And there's different ways to do this. Like Elon Musk for Tesla, he just, they do no marketing. He basically does a lot of marketing because he does like podcasts, and he creates a strong fan base. Some people almost say like a cult base, like the valuation of Tesla is way above other auto companies, because a lot of people argue that are more sophisticated. I think that Tesla is not an auto company. They're a software company or AI company or autonomous company. I'm not going to get into all those back and forth, because you could probably make arguments for both sides. But scale, you have to be big, you have to be known, and there's also two sides to this, because you want to be nimble and entrepreneurial, like Jack Welch, who died recently, great success at GE. He had like the two pizza rule, that even though they're a big company, that divisions or working groups were kept to sizes that they could have meetings with 2 pizzas or less. So even if you're big and even if you scale, you still have to have that entrepreneurial mindset. Like Jeff Bezos talks about a day one company. Doesn't matter how big Amazon gets, and they're used, I think, over $1 trillion now. Or they were at one point, they might still be. I mean, I'm not sure, because the stock market's been down a lot. I haven't checked it recently. But, you have to keep that day one mindset, but you have to be scale. And number 4 is integrated. So what's happening now is that you could be the best in the world at what you do, or world class, and just like be profitable forever. But that's not the case, because things are getting blindsided by crosswinds, because what's happening is one industry is wiping out another industry. Like for example, Bitcoin and Stripe and PayPal and Sophie and Robinhood, they're big threats to traditional brokers and banks and things like that. And you have so many innovative trends now. You have AI, you have blockchain, you have nanotechnology, you have robotics. So what's happening is that if you're just in your field, like say you're in healthcare and you're not aware of AI, really studying it, then you could be the best at healthcare, but somebody comes along, even if they're smaller, but has the innovations of AI or robotics or nanotechnology or whatever it is. So you have to be interdisciplinary, and you have to be interdisciplinary in a way that is number 4, integrated. So you can't just like be aware of blockchain. You have see, it's not if it's not relevant to you, but like the biggest names of the world tend to co-opt things. Like the internet was initially like kind of like more profitable to small people, smaller businesses that do like Google AdWords and things like that. But then the big companies, with the big websites, took over e-commerce, and the small guys got trampled. It's the same thing going on with blockchain. Blockchain is becoming very corporatized. And every technology tends to be like that, because the big guys have the resources to do it. So you have to be aware of what's out there, then you have to integrate it. So if blockchain is important to you, you have to integrate blockchain with AI. You have to integrate all the different areas that are coming in the future, that are going to be biggest in your field. Potentially, and if you study it, you can find out what those are. You have to integrate them in a way that's seamless, because if you have just like different silos, like I have a blockchain silo, I have an artificial intelligence silo, I have a robotics silo, then those are not helping you that much, if at all, because they're not creating like a seamless user experience and product development base. So you have to be able to integrate the different accelerating technologies into your business. So I'll repeat them again. The 4 the future of prosperity, if you master these: unique, first, scale, and integrated.